Well, everybody, this is Don with Wizard Tower Games. Already, I see we have someone in here who has joined. Um, I had a pretty controversial sounding tag on my video, and I did it on purpose because I'm going to address WOTC Goodman Games, the OSR, and what I call the NSR. Old school rulers, new school rulers, cancel culture, racism, bigotry. And as a publisher, I normally don't talk about other publishers, but I'm going to say something about WOTC and Goodman Games, and because a lot of people have chimed in about it, and I just think that people are losing perspective. Just Dude, thank you very much. Thank you for calling me the brain of wisdom. Nope, not going to toss the OSR or the NSR or whatever you want to call it under the bus. I'm just going to real quickly go through these. Well, if you need some toilet paper, I can pause the video so you can go grab some. But you probably need a paper towel roll as a big of ass that you are. And no problem, very soon a new player in town, and Wizard Tower Games being put out of business, and a true loyal OSR gamers will have true old school options. Well, holy crap, I'm glad you're going to rescue the OSR. Again? Any rate, all right. We all know the debacles, or I'm going to back up here. Now, why do I call it the OSR versus the NSR? I call it the OSR versus the NSR because that's kind of what it is. It's two camps. You have people who tend to like more of the old school stuff. Second edition, AD&D 1E, BECME, BX. Then you have people who are more into the 5E, modern style D&D gaming. And WOTC, as we all know, has made a lot of what has been with a lot of the more old school gamers, very unpopular changes in D&D. Now, first, why in the hell would they do that to a game? Tim Kask said this best in one of his videos. He talked about how language changes over time. It evolves. And a problem that we have in this country, and I think just in general, is, and it's always been a thing. I mean, my mom and dad, when I was a young teenager, used to go, oh, this new generation. And the new generation used to go, oh, gee, the older generation. And that's what we're having right now, is this petty tribalism in gaming, I think. You know, we have old school gamers. And when I say, by the way, when I talk about old school gamers or I talk about new school gamers, I'm not talking with a broad paintbrush. I'm talking about certain individuals within those two groups. So let's clarify that real quick right now. So you have certain, and I'll kind of reverse it. You have, and you can go on Twitter and see this really in stark contrast, is you have a large group of new school gamers who tend to like 5e, and they basically, a part of them likes to pretty much demonize anybody who is a liker of OSR or old style D&D, such as BECME, AD&D, BX, that type of D&D. And I've seen it in the last few days cited with, Goodman Games. Goodman Games came out with this creator summit, and they made this graphic, and on the graphic, Goodman Games had basically every one of the guys on there everyone was a male, were white, and were older. And people really came down on Joe and Goodman Games for being racist and being bigoted. And, I've seen all kinds of horrible things happening. This is what my opinion on Goodman Games is. I don't think Goodman Games is being intentionally racist or bigoted or whatnot with that. I really don't. I think instead, Goodman Games is making some fundamental changes. And I think it's very important to talk about fundamental changes and why are they being done. Now, what I'm getting ready to tell you is this is for people that are younger. Now, I'm 55. I've been gaming since 1977, so I have 45 years of gaming under my belt. I will tell you categorically, I have never once in all the gaming I've ever done, seen any open racism, bigotry, etc., except one time at a game shop, two guys got in an argument over politics. But why would, why would Goodman Games betray? And I saw that term several times, betray their roots. I don't think they're betraying their roots. As a game company, as a publisher, you have to be mindful of who you're dealing with. You have to be mindful of not so much as your base, although you do, but you have to be mindful of everybody. There's not a darn thing wrong with making everybody feel welcome. There's not. And, they had a graphic. They put it up. I don't believe for a moment that Goodman Games said, I'm going to put this graphic up because I want to piss people off. I think they just are having a creator summit. I'm not going to offer my opinion of the creator summit. That's their, jam that they're doing, but they're making one. They seem to be including topics and things that are more progressive. And the problem then is it got compiled when the graphic came out that some language was changed. They're removing names like Gygax and Kask and such, and Arneson and Menser and Ward. And a lot of people are taking great offense to that. Now, I don't believe for a minute Gary Gygax or Dave Arneson are rolling around in their grave upset over this. I don't believe for a moment Joe Goodman is sitting back going, how many people can I tick off and how can I do it? No. I think he has a large company. He is being business savvy. I think that he's really realizing that, although he may really love OSR style games, you need to also do a little modification and bending with the times. You just have to, because that's what companies do. And sometimes you get pushback on that. Now, I can say it like this. I don't believe for a moment that for individuals who like to play OSR style games are innately racist or bigoted. They're not racist grognards running around. I don't believe that. I hear it all the time on Twitter and Facebook. Just like people who like 5e are not, whatever. I mean, it just goes on and on. But for those of you who think that way, I got a question for you. If you're going to throw an argument out there that those who play AD&D, BECME, BX, OSR style games, if you're going to throw an argument out there that because, like me, I prefer AD&D. I do. I like AD&D 1E. I like that. I like BX. I like BECME. Now, does that make me a racist or a bigot? No, it doesn't. Does that make me hate women? No, trust me. I have 4 daughters and a wife. The estrogen in my home far outweighs the testosterone in my home. Trust me. My personal Facebook, and I will stand on the laurels of my personal Facebook. I have gay, transgender, queer people on my page, friends of mine on Facebook. And I'm sure that they would stand up and say, I've never seen Don say anything anti-gay, anti-trans. And I also have people who are very liberal and very conservative on my page, both Trump supporters and Biden supporters. Why? Because I'm a smart enough cookie to realize that I can like you no matter what your politics. Just throw them in my face and I won't throw them in yours. So for those of you who are saying this, I got something to throw at you. Okay? If you're using the logic that these grognards and these people, because they play OSR games, they're innate racist and bigots, let's go ahead and let's play that logic. Let's play the logic that I'll agree with you. Everybody who plays AD&D, BECME, and BX are a bunch of racist, bigoted old men who don't deserve to be in the hobby. Is that fair? So now let's stop right now and take a look at what you play. Okay, fine, you play 5e. What else do you play? Do you play poker? Do you play bridge? Do you play Monopoly? Stratego? Risk? Are you aware the individuals who invented those games and the timelines that they were invented in? You like those games. Do you play like Nintendo and such from the 80s? You can't put a blind label on a game because people prefer one edition over another. And that is the problem in this community. It is this petty tribalism. It is this you must you must conform. And it's affecting companies to the negative. Companies like Goodman Games, who's only trying to somehow adapt with the time. I think, although you may not like how it's being done, they're trying to adapt with the times. And because they're trying to adapt with the times, what ends up happening here is, you know, they're getting knocked down, and believe me, as a publisher, it's very easy to get frustrated and just say, heck with it. 10 Cars Tavern. Eric, thank you for coming on. Eric says, just dude, we already have those options of Frog God, Troll Lord, Archer, like that. One more or less than a pond makes no difference. Cal Vanoni, choices are made. Goodman lost me some time ago. And then unfortunately, some people think that way. I want to address this right here. Choices are made. Cal Vanoni has his right to his opinion. But the thing is, better late than never, I think, is a real apt term to use here, because when companies step up and say, I need to be a little bit more progressive, I need to be a little bit more to the time, and there's a few facts that as a publisher you have to look at. Okay, it costs money to develop games, it costs money to publish games. Okay, for those of you who are out there that just develop a module and throw it on drive through, you have your time into it. But if you're going to publish a game legitimately and you're going to publish it for preparation to go ahead and be sent off to a distributor or to serve or to sell and distribute yourself, it costs a lot of money. And like we publish 5e content, but we also publish 1e and BECME content. It doesn't make us a racist or a bigot because of the content that we publish and or play. Like I said, I prefer AD&D. And the thing is, there's another way of looking at this. For those of you who are younger, and I'm just going to throw it like this, 30 years and younger, and you're watching this, it's easy to demonize people like Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson for the time that they lived in, along with the time that they lived in, what was the societal norms that they lived in. Okay? So there's one thing that you need to keep in mind, and I'll promise you I'm right, and I challenge anybody to come on here and call me wrong. You for 30 and under, I guarantee you there are things that you say and do right now that are normal, that are socially accepted, that you can say in public and people will go look at you and smile. 20 years from now, it'll be unacceptable. And 20 years from now or 25 years from now, you'll look back when you were 30 or under and you'll go, oh, I can't believe I said that. There was things that we said when I was a teenager that were just in jest. And I'm not going to utter the words because it'll offend people. But the thing is, we said things, 35 years ago, 40 years ago, when I was 15, 14, that I look back and I'm not going to say that now. That wasn't right to say, but it was acceptable at the time. And like Tim Kask said, and I'm not going to quote him, but you can go to his video. In fact, I'll go ahead and put it in the notes down below, where he talks about language changes, it evolves, and with language changing and evolving, your thought process has to change and it has to evolve, and it doesn't make you. It doesn't make you wrong for liking an edition of the game. And see, there's where the big crux of all this comes into as a community that we're having a problem with right now. We have loud people on each side that are very wrong in what they're saying. We have very loud people on each side that really get drastic. I mean, we're talking about they're pegging the meter on each side. The problem is they're the loud ones. They're the ones that people look at and go, oh, so he represents what those people are. I have friends that are very old school. I have friends that are very new school. And you know what? I like them both. the fact that one group of my friends likes to go ahead and play 5e does not make them, you know, bastions of ruining this country or this world or whatnot. And the thing is, this whole thing with D&D, WOTC, changing D&D. I'm going to defend Wizards of the Coast in one way. Wizards of the Coast is a for-profit company. Okay, they are publicly held and traded company. They have shareholders they have to report to. Okay, it's not like back when Gary Gygax and company owned it, and it was kind of just a small group. They ran it. Decisions were made. They are a multi-billion-dollar company now. They have millions of customers, and yes, the decisions that they make, I don't agree with them all. Okay. The decisions that they make, many of them I look at and I go, I don't think that's right for the game. But I can still understand why they're doing it. They're trying to adjust and conform to what is out there, what they perceive as a company, their bases, or where they need to get their product to. Whether they're doing it clumsily or whether they're doing it elegantly, they're doing it. And many of their decisions that they make, I admit, I would not sit there and I would not go with myself. A couple I would, but at the end of the day, the tribalism and this cancel culture that we have in this country, and again, addressing cancel culture, I see it all the time with people on Twitter, especially Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, is I've literally seen people jump a publisher and say, you must make this statement. Make this statement. You have to post it, or it'll prove that you're a racist or a bigot. But yet, if you go to them and you say, no, you must post this statement to show that, you love your country or you like this or you like that, they'll get all offended. Liking AD&D or liking 5e or liking BECME and liking 4e does not make you either way racist, bigoted, liberal, crazy conservative, far right, far left. No, it means that you're a gamer and you like to game. And there's, again, where the whole foundation of this is at, and that is, I think that what we as a gaming community need to do is I think that we have to collectively understand that there are individuals out there who are going to be problematic in any community. I see them in the board game community. I see them in the collective card game communities. I see them in the RPG communities. You can see who they are because they come in and they post content that's deliberately designed to inflame. Or if someone makes an innocuous comment, they come in and they start attacking and they start insulting and doing, because what they're trying to do is they want to elicit a reaction. That's why you see a lot of people on Twitter and their accounts are really crazy to the right or left. I mean, they are either way, way, way pegging the red meter on the left or the right. And what they do is they post content because they know they're going to get interaction. They know they're going to get supported and or attacked. And believe it or not, they don't mind either one. They don't mind to be attacked because that's interaction for them. And so what's the solution to all of this that I've been talking about now for 18 minutes? I think the solution to this is to understand that when companies like Goodman Games makes these changes, okay, and when companies like WOTC makes changes, what they are attempting to do is they're trying to be progressive. They're trying to adapt. Goodman Games is famous for putting out content that focuses mainly around the OSR community. The problem is Goodman Games also is a smart enough company to realize that they have to do something, because more and more people are shifting to 5e. That's a fact. And with this new edition coming out now in 2024, call it 5e.2, call it 6e, whatever you want, a lot of people are going to be gravitating to it. So, and I'm not trying to put anything in Joe Goodman's mouth. And I welcome Joe Goodman to comment on here to clarify. But the head of Goodman Games, the powers that be, I think, are trying to be progressive. Do I agree with how they're doing it? No. Why? Well, because I'm a different game publisher. I think tactically I think different. But does it make Joe Goodman wrong? I really don't want to say yes to that. I think that maybe people, and I've seen the comment underneath, why can't people just simply say, hey, I noticed you put this graphic up, why are you not being more inclusive? Or better yet, engage the company on that thread and ask questions, engage them and say, I have a question. Do you have any gay or transgender speakers at your summit? Do you have any topics of gaming and how it affects the gay and trans community? Engage the company. But instead, what I seen was they posted it. They're trying to do something positive with this Creator Summit. Like I said, I have my personal opinion of it. I'm not airing it here. I'm just going to say it. As a publisher, they're trying to do something. And instead of getting interaction and getting questions asked that they can then clarify and answer, I just seen a bunch of people go right off the jugular. And that's classic Twitter. That's classic social media. Because we live in an age now where it is tribal. It is 100%. What tribe do you belong to? And it's problematic. It's causing major divisions in our community. And I personally think that we're better than this. I really do. So I'm going to end my video with that. I just really think that, I know a lot of people in, we'll call it who the OSR, for lack of a better word. And I know a lot of people in I'm going to call it the NSR, New Style Rules communities. I like a lot of both. There's jerks in both. Yes. But we have to, I think, as a community, come together and say, listen, you know what? It's okay for you like 5e. We can be friends. You can have your own political. Calvin says, Janelle's in the hospital, may not recover. That's right. Janelle Jacques. Here we have a transgender woman who was part of the early TSR days, who had, I believe, a massive impact on gaming. And this woman is in the hospital. And see, this is where it can come together. And her friend put a GoFundMe up. And I've seen some of the people donating money. A lot of new style gamers and old style gamers. Like I said, there's a lot of damn good people out there. And Janelle's case with her GoFundMe is in stark contrast, shows exactly how good this all is. Because transgender woman was part of early TSR, had a huge impact on OSR style gaming, and has went on. And what is Janelle was in process of doing? She was in process of making her older games modern. She's in the hospital. She's not doing well. And a lot of people came together. A hell of a lot of gamers came together, and they went ahead and did that. Tim, thank you for tuning in my video. Tim says, I bought her first commercial piece. So we have individuals out there, and Janelle, like I said, I think Janelle's a good lightning rod for this. My point. We're better than this as a community. I really do think that. I think that publishers who try to be progressive and step up, instead of attacking them, maybe if you engage them and ask why. A simple, why are you doing this? Or a simple, what are your plans? Do you plan to continue to post, or make older games? The answers may solve a lot of issues because you may be educated on it, instead of just presuming and getting mad and getting angry and going on there and screaming and yelling. So hope everybody has a good Wednesday. I'm going to sign off. This is Don from Wizard Tower Games. I just hope this is food for thought. I just think that we need to stop this bullshit tribalism, because that's exactly what it is. I think as a community, we're better than this. And I think if we come together as a community and say, listen, you can play your type of game. I can play my type of game. Real quick, Cal Vanoni says, unfortunately for many of us, the language change occurred. We are not going to go with the neutral pronouns thing. Cal, I'm not advocating that you do that. What I'm saying is this: is you know what I'm mainly saying when it comes to gaming in general is I'm not saying that you have to agree with neutral pronouns or and such, but the thing is you have to understand that on each side things change. And you don't have to agree with it. You don't even have to address it. You can just move through it. It's not something that demands, a stance. Tim Cass, some of the NSR cancellation is ridiculous bullshit. I agree fully. I mean, I talked about that earlier, Tim. Um, I think that, you know, when we sit there and as a game company, and this happened to me very early on. I was asked to make a statement on Twitter when I was on Twitter. We don't post on Twitter a lot. Why don't we post on Twitter a lot anymore? Because it's just negativity. And you know, this whole thing with you must conform to our way or you're done. And if you are a new style rules gamer and you have that attitude, you are doing exactly what you demonize with some people in the OSR. You are also being, for lack of a better term, discriminatory with a company because just their style of gaming that they like. So, and Calvioni or Vanoni, sorry, Cal, if I keep mispronouncing your name, says, as a prospective customer, I make my choices. Absolutely, you do, and I'm not condemning you for making choices. You have to make your choices based upon your own, what you're experiencing. Are there game companies out there who have been very negative? Yes. We have a recent game company out there who I believe was posting in the very front part of this chat, and they went ahead and let's face it, they made some really bad choices on Twitter and more, you know. But as a consumer, you have to make that choice. But I've seen you online also, Cal. You can engage people in an adult way. A lot of people can't. Twitter is a cesspool of ignorance and hate. I agree fully, Tim, and that's why we don't post much on it. And then I refuse to go on and use it. Yeah, we don't use Twitter. Very very rarely do we post on it anymore because it just seems like when you're on Twitter, it is just such an easy stance for people to sit there and not easy stance. It's an easy platform for people to go ahead and just attack. And it seems like people on Twitter really enjoy it. And I talked about this earlier, Tim, is when you look at people on Twitter, especially, they're either banging on the far right or banging on the far left, and they're doing it for attention because they've realized that whether it's positive or negative, they're getting attention. Cal said, "I'm still 15 for gaming purposes." And there's nothing wrong with that. See, that's the whole point. Like me, I'm 15 for gaming purposes. I love AD&D. Been gaming since 1977. I like BECME. I like BX. You know, Tim says, if I ever tweet you or tweet, you may, or he meant tweet, you may shoot me. Tim, I know you good enough. I agree with you. I don't think I ever see you with a Twitter account. But the thing here is we just have to sit there, I think, collectively come together as a community. So I'll kind of leave it at that. So this is Donald at Wizard Tower Games. I appreciate everybody commenting, coming in, talking. Appreciate those of you who have engaged in my video here. I hope it's food for thought. I think we're better than this. I think people just have to understand that things change, and sometimes change is a painful thing. But when it comes to gaming, it doesn't matter what type of gaming that you like. Gaming's gaming. You're meeting with friends, you're engaging with friends, you're having fun, you're doing a positive thing, you're leaving the politics at the door, hopefully, or you're leaving the social issues at the door, and you have a group of people that you really care and love, and you play. So hope everybody has a good day. Bye to you too, Tim and Cal. Excellent. We're getting old. So this is Don with Wizard Tower Games. I'll talk to you guys later.